Oh, Electronic Arts, you greedy bag of anus wrinkles. So, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been available for those subscribed to EA's Early Access service, and the early reports were shit. Really shit. Not the quality of the reports, of course, but what we're hearing about Star Wars Battlefront 2, which sounds like it's a load of complete bollocks. The game's beta threw up concerns about it becoming a pay-to-win game, where multiplayer advantages could be purchased via loot boxes and just awarded to you for instant use. People were concerned that you could buy Star Wars Battlefront 2, just spend $100 on it immediately, and be better than people putting the time into the game. And while EA walked some of that back due to backlash, it turns out all they really did was just take the top tier, most powerful stuff out of the RNG system, but still leave in a load of pay-to-win style advantages. Bear in mind, of course, that Star Wars Battlefront is not a free-to-play game. I know none of you think it is, but it needs to be pointed out because, well, if games are gonna pull this shit, they should be free to play. If you're gonna build a game like it's free to play, make it actually free to play, you avaricious fucksticks. I touched on all the latest Battlefront developments in the last Jimquisition, but I felt I needed to do a full video on it just to try and get the full scope of the thing in one concise package. Now, there is so much utter bollocks tied to Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's difficult to sort of get it all in order, but I'm going to try and give you a recap. So it's a simple fact now that yes, Star Wars Battlefront 2 lets you continue to pay real-world money in exchange for genuine, tangible, multiplayer competitive advantages. Battlefront 2's loot boxes contain star cards which you can equip, and they actually give you various upgrades. Faster ability cooldowns, higher health, stuff like that. And that's just the basic shit. Stuff that really will give you an advantage against someone else who doesn't have such cards equipped. Even more than that, the classes in Battlefront 2 have what's called a card level, which is supposed to limit your ability to personally craft powerful cards. But here's the insidiously smart part, the conniving part. Your card level is determined by the amount of cards you have. The more cards you have, the higher your card level. So the quicker you get to buying loot boxes, the quicker your card level is gonna rise and rise. And while you may only be able to craft the high level stuff after putting in a bit of time, the absolute tippity-toppity tier cards, you can still find rare and pretty effective fucking cards in the loot boxes themselves. I mean, of course you can. That's exactly what this whole fucking system was designed for. EA may have done a little bit of a backpedal due to the beta backlash, but this whole thing was designed to be a game where you pay for advantages, which is exactly what you can do. Meanwhile, those who decide not to pay are in for a fucking grind. And sorry, I said decide not to pay. I mean everyone who has it paid for it. I mean pay more. And more, and more, and more, and more. The most famous story related to this aspect is the fact that it takes 40 hours, allegedly, to unlock Darth fucking Vader. You know, one of the most integral characters to any Star Wars Battlefront game. Heroes and other goods are locked behind massive grinds, designed to encourage you to stump up extra green and purchase premium currency so that you can acquire shit earlier. After the Star Wars Battlefront subreddit exploded with outrage over just what a pay-to-win scam Star Wars Battlefront 2 actually is, EA's own community team went into a thread to try and explain themselves, to try and release a statement, and it's, well, to call it mealy-mouthed would be an insult to those whose mouths are particularly mealy. Just read this utter shit here from the EA community team. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Give me a fucking break. Then there's a bit of bollocks talking about why things cost the way they do. They selected their values based upon data from the open beta, promised to make constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course attainable via gameplay. And can we throw that bollocks out the window, please? Attainable via gameplay means nothing. especially in a game like this, when you put a big fucking grindy wall in front of the player, when someone else can just drop $100 into the game and come out overburdened with fucking advantages, while people who are actually, you know, playing the game they bought to play are railroaded and stonewalled at every opportunity. This attainable via gameplay excuse is complete and total shit. And humorously enough, I am not the only person who thought this. In fact, so many people thought EA talked shit that this comment is now, and I hope you're proud of it, EA, the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. It's gilded, but it's completely downvoted. At the time of talking, it is at minus 650,000 points. And that's only at the time of talking. A couple hours ago, it wasn't as bad as that, though it was still bad. A couple of hours from now, I'm sure it'll be even worse. Funny, that actually sounds like the AAA game industry in a fucking nutshell. After the backlash got so big, not even EA could brush past it and ignore the thing, a concession was made to slash the price of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, so they are now 75% cheaper than they were. They'll now cost 15,000 credits, that's the bullshit free currency that you get in-game as opposed to crystals, and just amazingly they cost 60,000 credits before. However, that comes with a caveat, because, according to Game Informer here, they haven't been able to do a review of Star Wars Battlefront 2 based on these changes, pointing out that along with the price slash for Vader and Luke Skywalker and a couple of the other heroes, it seems that some rewards have been slashed as well. Originally, when you completed the campaign, you got 20,000 credits for it, but the reward is now 5,000 credits. Now that we're in a world of online connectivity and constant updates, video games themselves can constantly move the goalposts, change the arguments, outdate people's complaints, and certainly make the process of reviewing a game, like Game Informer had here, a very difficult job indeed. Another official response comes from DICE, where they say change will be a constant in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is basically their way of saying, don't be too mad, we can always tweak it, but no, you've already exposed your motives with the game. You can walk it back, but we know what you intended. It's like the Xbox One all over again. They stopped it being a DRM box by removing the ridiculous online connectivity requirement, but that doesn't change what Microsoft ultimately wants to do. We know the goal already. Walking it back now doesn't really change that. And it sure as shit makes sure that I don't trust anything you have to fucking say about your slimy, sleazy, insidious, exploitative, predatory piece of shit game. It's too late. We know what Star Wars Battlefront 2 was intended to be. We know it's been inspired by the fucking mobile market, because if you dare to play arcade mode for too long, they put a cap on the amount of credits you can earn, making you wait several hours before you can actually get rewarded for playing arcade mode again. Where did they get that idea from? Oh, I remember, EA is the one that published that fucking Dungeon Keeper mobile game that was full of it. One of those free-to-wait experiences. By all accounts, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a mobile game in a AAA game's clothing. But hey, at least EA stocks went down a little bit. So that's something. On another note, I do have to point out that directly harassing individual game developers is not going to change anything. It's only going to obscure the conversation around loot boxes, and it makes you all look like, and well, because you are, being a bunch of fucking dicks. Obviously, this does not apply to everyone watching this. I would hope it wouldn't apply to anyone watching this, but you never can tell, it's YouTube, innit? But some developers have mentioned that they've been harassed, been receiving death threats, and that's just not fucking on, okay? I know people are frustrated and they want to put a face to a problem, but one of the biggest issues with the AAA game industry is that those fucking the whole thing up don't really have public faces. Sure, we know some of the big CEOs, Strauss Zelnick, Yves Guillemot, the fucking walking embodiment of Caprica that serves as EA's current CEO, but they're practically untouchable, and behind them are a bunch of faceless shareholders. The fucking community manager or level designer or who the fuck ever on Twitter might give you some temporary sense of satisfaction because they have a face, and a problem with a face makes you feel a bit more powerful, like you're being listened to. But they're not the problem. These are people on the bottom bottom rungs of the ladder. They don't make the decisions. I've mentioned in the past about Deus Ex Mankind Divided and how their microtransactions were shoveled in by Square Enix at the last minute. The studio was just told, you've got to put this shit in there, sunshine. So whoever's family you decided to threaten likely had nothing to fucking do with what you're upset about. So fucking cut it out, you dick cheeses. Back to the subject at hand. Right now, it's just a fluctuating mess. EA seems to actually realise that, hey, they might have a real PR problem on their hands and are scrabbling and scraping to try and fix it with incremental changes that don't actually fix the fundamental issue with Star Wars Battlefront II. In any case, what's been just called the loot box controversy within the industry has been great for showing us the true face under the mask of these companies. I mean, we all knew that Activision and EA were soul-sucking shitmouths, but the things that they've been pulling with Call of Duty World War II, Shadow of War, Star Wars Battlefront 2, really exposes what predators these corporations are. In any case, this video should be as up-to-date on the situation as possible. I think I've managed that. I'm sure I've omitted some stuff. Like right now, at the time of talking, the current topic of discussion on the subreddit is about how EA's customer support page has hidden the refund button, which is just pitiful. But like DICE itself says, change is a constant in Star Wars Battlefront, which is why it's good that we have, well, a platform like this and social media and Reddit, so that every little tweak, every little twist, every little piece of shitty, slimy scumbaggery they try to slide in under our noses can be quickly reported upon and amplified. Yes, the world of online connectivity wasn't good just for you, Electronic Arts. And so I close with one final message to EA. Go fuck yourself. Hard. With a spiky thing. Bye.